Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Sumaya AI Wali, student at Rehan AI Teacher Training Institute Batch 21. Today's conversation is something many of us experience but don't always recognize. Today we are discussing toxic positivity, a concept that may sound positive but can actually be harmful. Toxic positivity is the excessive and ineffective overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state across all situations. It often dismisses real emotions like sadness, anger, or frustration by saying things like, just stay positive, or everything happens for a reason. While positivity is important, forcing it can invalidate genuine feeling and prevent emotional growth. People may feel unheard, misunderstood, or even guilty for experiencing normal human emotions. Identifying toxic positivity means recognizing when positivity becomes dismissive rather than supportive. Avoiding it involves creating a space for honest emotions, practicing empathy, and allowing ourselves and others to feel without judgment. Let's dive into a thoughtful conversation with ChatGPT to understand it more. ChatGPT, I have to talk about toxic positivity.
That's a really important topic. I'd love to help you unpack it. What aspects are you focusing on? Like what it is, how it affects people, or how to respond to it?
You're right. First of all, what is toxic positivity?
Great starting point. So, toxic positivity is basically this idea where people focus only on positive emotions and reject or dismiss anything negative. It can make people feel pressured to always be upbeat, even when they're struggling. And that can really invalidate real emotions and experiences. So, it's kind of a double edged sword. Nice to be positive, but not at the expense of authenticity. Does that make sense?
Sounds unrealistic, but
Yeah, exactly. It kind of sets up this unrealistic standard that we have to be happy all the time, even when life is tough. And when people do that, it can make others feel like they can't fully express themselves or ask for help. So it's really about finding that balance, acknowledging both the good and the bad.
why it is harmful?
Yeah, so it's harmful because it can lead to isolation. When someone feels sad or overwhelmed and they're told just stay positive, it shuts down their ability to process those feelings or get support. Over time, it can lead to things like anxiety, shame, or even burnout. So it's really about giving ourselves and others permission to feel the full spectrum of emotions honestly.
How can we identify toxic positivity?
That's a great question. So you might notice it when people are consistently dismissing real challenges with phrases like just stay positive or everything happens for a reason. It often shuts down deeper conversations about pain or struggle. So if you feel like emotions are being minimized or rushed, that's a red flag.
Is positivity always bad?
Not at all. Positivity in itself is great. It can be really motivating and uplifting. The problem is when it's forced or used to deny real pain. So it's about balance, being able to acknowledge the tough stuff while still holding on to hope and gratitude.
Some common signs of toxic positivity.
Yeah, definitely. Some signs are things like consistently brushing off other people's struggles, a refusal to engage with any negative emotions, or even statements like, just be grateful, it could be worse. It's often a lack of space for nuanced, real conversations about hardship.
How does it affect mental health?
Yeah, it can really weigh on your mental health. If you feel like you're always being told to just look on the bright side, you might start suppressing your real feelings. That can lead to loneliness, anxiety, or even a sense of guilt for just not being happy enough. So it's really important to create space for all emotions.
Okay, ChatGPT, why do people use toxic positivity?
Yeah, a lot of times it's coming from a good place. People want to encourage others or avoid feeling helpless. Sometimes it's also a cultural thing where we just don't feel comfortable sitting to discomfort. So even though the intent is often to help, it can come off as dismissive.
Can toxic positivity damage relationships?
Absolutely. When someone feels like their genuine struggles are being ignored or minimized, they can start to feel unheard or disconnected from the other person. That lack of validation or openness can really erode trust and intimacy in a relationship.
What is a better alternative?
A much better approach is practicing emotional validation. So instead of pushing for forced positivity, you just acknowledge their feelings. You might say, I see you're really struggling, and that's okay. I'm here for you. That creates a safe space for connection and real support.
How can we respond instead of saying stay positive?
Yeah. So instead of stay positive, you can say something like, I'm really glad you told me how you feel. Or it sounds really hard and I'm here to listen. You could also offer practical support, like asking, what can I do to help right now? That keeps the focus on empathy and connection.
What about social media? Can it promote toxic positivity?
Oh, definitely. Social media often emphasizes these highlight reels. People only post the best parts of their lives. And that can create this pressure to always seem happy or successful, which can be really isolating or disheartening if you're going through something tough.
How can we avoid doing it ourselves?
Yeah, a great way is to be more intentional with what you share. Mix in authentic, vulnerable moments, not just the perfect ones. And also, if you see others doing that, you can model support by commenting with kindness and openness, just reminding people it's okay to share the full range of their experiences.
ChatGPT, is it okay to feel negative emotions?
Absolutely, it is. Negative emotions are a natural part of being human. They're signals that something matters to us, and they give us the chance to process, heal, and grow. So it's totally okay to feel them and to give yourself that space.
How can we support someone emotionally?
Yeah, a big part is just being present and listening without judgment. Let them know you're there for them, ask open ended questions if they want to talk, and offer comfort, whether that's just a quiet space, a simple check in, or practical help if needed.
What role does self awareness play?
Self awareness is really key because it helps us recognize our own emotions and how we respond to others. When we're self aware, we can catch ourselves if we're defaulting to toxic positivity, and we can be more intentional in how we engage. So we respond with more compassion and balance.
So it helps us recognize when we are dismissing emotions.
Exactly. By being self aware, you can catch yourself if you're minimizing feelings, and instead you can pause, check in, and choose a response that actually acknowledges their experience.
Can toxic positivity affect personal growth?
Yeah, it really can. If you're constantly denying or suppressing negative emotions, you might avoid confronting the deeper issues that help you grow. By being honest about both positive and negative experiences, you create more opportunities for self discovery and real growth.
How can we create a safe emotional space?
Yeah, creating a safe emotional space starts with being non judgmental and really listening. You can validate feelings, give reassurance that it's okay to struggle, and avoid jumping to solutions too quickly. Also, just checking in regularly so people know they're truly seen and supported.
What is emotional validation?
Yeah, emotional validation is basically letting someone know that their feelings are real, important, and understandable without trying to fix them or downplay them. It's saying, I see you and it's okay to feel this way. And that really helps people feel heard and supported.
Can positivity be balanced?
Yeah, absolutely. You can balance positivity by acknowledging the hard stuff while still recognizing what's good. So you validate struggles, and then you can say something like, I'm here with you, and I also hope we can find some light in this. It's all about balance and honesty.
And by combining hope with honesty.
Exactly. Hope doesn't have to erase reality, it can sit right alongside it. So when we're honest about challenges but still leave room for hope, we're encouraging people to keep going without feeling like they have to fake it. And that's really powerful.
What's one final tip to avoid toxic positivity?
I'd say one key tip is to regularly check in with yourself and others, asking, what do you really need right now? By staying curious and open, you create space for real emotions without rushing to the positive spin.
I'll make sure to remember that ChatGPT. And as we wrap up, let's remember that true strength is not about always being positive. It's about being real. Emotions are not weakness. They are signals that helps us understand ourselves and others better. Thank you so much, ChatGPT, for sharing such beautiful insights with us.
You're so welcome. I'm really glad we could talk about this. And yeah, just remember being honest about how you feel is such a powerful step, and you're doing great by creating that space. Thanks again.
Thank you. So, by replacing toxic positivity with empathy, understanding, and honesty, we can build deeper connections and healthier minds. Thank you so much, all of you. This is Sumaya signing off.